Okay, well, it's Monday and it started almost, but not quite an hour late. That's what happens when you're doing live TV or, streaming in live time. Um, we expected some construction people to show up at about 8:30 and they showed up about 10, which is, an hour and a half later. So I'd figured that I'd be able to start on time if they showed up at 8:30, but they didn't. They showed up at 10. So that's why it's late. Um, so I'm still working on this GT350, and a bunch of parts are done, and I'll show them to you later, maybe. And a bunch of parts need still to be done, down to just like little bits of stuff. So oh yeah, I did some homework, and I discovered that the inside of the hood is painted the body color, okay, which is going to be blue. It doesn't have a stripe, so I'll paint this blue, and then install it to do the taping for the striping. So this is going to go into the in process box. This is the in process box. A bunch of stuff is going in there today. I did manage to get the taillights and the turn signals and the backup lights. I got those painted. I'm going to take them off the sprue and get them cleaned up. Pretty much this box is just going to get filled with parts in process. Just a whole bunch of parts in process, um, including this little bit. So one other thing is, the hood needs to be installed before I can stripe the thing. And so I need to look at I need to look at what goes in here. Okay, I don't want to get too far ahead of myself. So there's a bunch of stuff that goes in here, like the radiator and the washer fluid bag and the master cylinder and things that get installed inside the engine bay. Okay, inside the engine bay. And if the hood is on, it only opens, it's only going to open part way like this, which make it really difficult to install some of those things. So one of the things I need to do before I get too far ahead is I need to decide whether I'm going to put those in place, install them first, before I mask it. Okay, because that stays black. This is going to get masked before I mask it before I paint the rest of this. So, um, probably will. So it means I need to get those parts out and ready to go. But I'm gonna do a little painting today, though the insides of these panels need to be painted black, and the insides of these louvers need to be painted metallic. I'm actually going to, now that I'm thinking about it, sometimes I actually think about things before I do them. I'm going to leave them taped on here and leave them taped on here, and that way we can paint them and they're not going to go sliding all over the place. They just slide around a little bit. Um, so that's pretty much what's going to happen with the rest of the day. With the rest of the day today, I'm going to be, um, taking parts off of sprues and cleaning them up, doing a little bit of painting here, and then maybe maybe doing some assembly inside the engine bay. I'm not sure. But yeah, so painting. I actually want a fairly big brush for this. I want to paint it without having too many brush marks on it. So I'm going to get this, this. I'm going to paint these things first. I haven't used these in a while. I'm not going to paint these chrome. I'm going to paint them a little bit the darker metallic. So these things go here. The GT-350 had louvers there. Maybe I'll show you how one of these works. They have louvers there instead of windows, and they going like that. Okay, and then they get painted the body color. But the inside is there's actually like screens on here on the real car. But I'm gonna paint that the darker aluminum color to represent the screens that go on there. It's not going to be perfectly authentic, but it's the best I can do. They're actually the real parts for each of the louvers. This would be black, and then there would be essentially stripes of metallic color across. But I don't think I can do that. I'm going to paint the metallic, and if that doesn't look good, I'll try to paint it the black over the metallic. No, I'm going to stick with the darker color. I don't need a whole lot of this paint. A little bit goes a long way. But whenever I squeeze it out, I end up getting way more than I need anyway. Okay, well, not getting any of what I need because the tip of the bottle is dried paint on it. Good. I'm already knocking things over and bumping into them. It's going to be that kind of Monday, isn't it? Yes, it is. paint all the way up to the edge. Because when I test fit it, these edges showed. Well, obviously, I needed one drop, not two. Yeah, that's a good color. Try to get it so that it's uniform. The black pigment in it is cooling up in a way that is not helpful. I think that'll end up looking okay. It's supposed to look like a screen, but it was never molded that way. Okay, well, it's done anyway. Now I need the black paint. Paint the insides of these flat black. And after these are painted, I will set them aside so that they're not in the way and not getting knocked over. There was just a bubble of pigment there. That's how they taking the paint out of the bottle. Paint the edges black too, because I'm not going to really know till these are attached what's going to show on the outside and what's going to show on the inside. I want whatever the outside will get painted, so that's not a problem. And if it needs to be painted the body color, I can take the black paint and kind of scrape it off if it needs to be removed. No, there, no, it's got black paint on it. Set those way over here, I think. Okay, well, that's it. That's the painting for today. I guess that's the relaxing part because this is relaxing painting, right? So the rest of the day, such as it is, I will be spending taking parts off of sprue, cleaning them up, removing sprue marks, and maybe molding seams. I'm not sure, and then uh, checking to see how much of the inside of the engine bay really needs to be assembled before I start working on the body panels. This has suddenly started moving along much more quickly than I thought it would. Um, and I don't have the blue paint for the body yet, but that's probably okay because I need to paint it white first anyway, so that I can mask it and create white stripes, blue with white stripe. All right, those brushes there. This is the parts in process, so I'm gonna just a little bits. Once these come off, I'm going to put them in there so as hopefully not to get lost. Do this first, get the big part done. And then just get almost all, but not all, the rest of the parts. Yeah, breaking that off would be a disaster. I'm not quite sure what thinking, if anything, was going on with this. But you can see, oh, I messed it up. Yeah, I messed up the bumper with the saw. Jeez. I thought I had the angle right, but I obviously didn't. No, that's a shame. A little bumper flaw now. We got a bumper flaw. The bumper. That's how Monday goes. Guess I might as well get these off. Painting of the taillights came out okay. This is where I do something really fun like dropping them on the floor. So I attempt to get the sprue removed without damaging the chrome like I did on the bumper. And then I'm going to carefully put them in that box where hopefully they will stay and not get lost. Just as well that I did the backup lights and the turn signals. I painted those because then I can tell which is which. Otherwise, they look almost the same. What are the odds that that's going to pop off and go flying? The odds are really quite high. I need to do this inside the box so that if they do pop off and go flying, hopefully they'll go flying inside the box. And not on the floor where they will be lost under the workbench forever. Yeah, cleaning these off is going to be a little bit of a big challenge here. Yeah. Attachment point to the screw is massive. It all needs to come off. When I take the backup lights, I will try to cut it a little closer to the part. Yeah, see, that's why I'm doing it over the box. Because I dropped that, and if I dropped it on a hard surface, it would have bounced and ended up getting lost. Oh, hi, Enforcer. Why, I oh, okay. Yeah, I'm kinda muttering to myself because I'm working on tiny little parts here. How have you been? I haven't seen you in a while. Things going okay? Or have you had a chance to play a game with your characters? Sorry, I've been just quiet today. I'm working on tiny little parts, trying to get the sprue off of the, chromed parts, and yeah, not going great. Really busy? Well, that's really good news, I guess, if it's good busy. Has it been good busy? So, yeah, I almost got it done, and I can't grab onto the part anymore. My fingers aren't working that well. Tiny little bit of plastic that needs to be scraped off. Dropped it again. Yeah, but thanks for popping in. Um, yeah, I was off for a while doing some traveling, and then, the holidays, and then last week, the week before last, I was gone all week, kind of at short notice. Oh, no. Oh my god. Well, I guess that's good that you went back to school, but oh my, that's really awful. I guess I've heard that that can be extremely painful as well. Well, I hope that there's good treatment for it and that there's going to be a recovery, but that's horrible news, really. But you're okay though. So what are you studying in school? What's your focus? Oh, yeah, that the chemotherapy can be, actually really debilitating. I have a relative who, is being treated for cancer and has treatments every 2 weeks and is sick for, like, 3 days after each treatment. It's really been difficult. I guess they're just really, really powerful drugs that take its toll on the body. The abbreviations. Oh, yeah, cybersecurity, that's a good, well, it's critical because as I've been reading, just cyber attacks are happening everywhere all the time. Yeah, virtual space has become a very dangerous place. That's pretty good. I'm sure that you'll catch on, with practice with the abbreviations. How long will the course take in total? How much longer do you have to be in school before you're able to work in the field? Well, that explains why you haven't been joining in so much because you've been really busy with school. I've been really busy trying not to do anything at all. I like being retired. Although my to-do list keeps growing. Every time I cross 3 things off of my to-do list, I put 3 more back on. Like there's never-ending stuff to do. But I have been making progress on this car. I mean, that's been good. And at some point, the car will be finished, and I'll have to decide what to do next. I need to decide whether, I'm not sure. I'm not sure if I wanna keep the stream going or not. Um, I'm debating that because I've got the car. I promised, the folks from Dyson Dungeons that I'd finish the car. This is, Nicole plays, well, that's pretty good. So right after the 2nd course, you'll be able to get employed. And then he'll be really busy because then he'll have a job. Jobs really get in the way of doing everything else. What happened here? Did I just scrape the paint? Looks okay from this direction. It must have just been the light. Okay. Working at your own pace is good. That's what I do. Hmm. My pace is slow. I just not deliberately. It's just everything takes longer than I think it should. Something always comes up, like it's coming along okay. I just scraped the paint. Oh man. Okay, now it's this tiny little piece and I have to repaint it. See, there's always something like that. It's like, "Oh, this is going on okay." And then it doesn't. Yeah, see that the part of it here is that the, paint just doesn't adhere to the chrome very well, and there wasn't any choice about painting it on the other any other way, so now I need to repaint this turn signal if I can ever get this I can get the screw off. Card game, huh? You you get together with other people and play it, or is it like an online card game? I'm not familiar with that game at all, so I'm kinda curious how it works. Oh, that's okay. It's not a problem. I've been kinda off and on anyway. 2 weeks ago, the week before last, I was gone the whole week. I had a Over the weekend, I had a chance to, arrange a trip to Chicago and, hadn't been there in a while, and I wanted to do that, so I did. Got to go to the Museum of Natural History there and, saw the dinosaur skeletons. They have some really good ones. They got a great Stegosaurus and a Parasaurolophus, and, of course, the very famous, T-Rex Sioux. They also, at the Field Museum of Natural History, just recently acquired the most complete Archaeopteryx fossil in the world. It's pretty impressive. I mean, it's a small bird, like the size of a pigeon, really, uh, but it's beautifully preserved. What was kind of cool is at the museum, the fossil preparation folks work behind a big glass window, so you can see them doing their work. And they had a video of the people preparing the Archaeopteryx, and they were the same people that we saw working in the preparation lab. So that was kind of cool. Why did they attach it there? Why, didn't why didn't they attach it at the back of the pin? I just don't understand sometimes how the decisions that are made when they're putting these parts together. So it was, yeah, it was really amazing. Um, you know, they tell you not to tap on the glass or try to talk to the people doing the preparation work. But it was really tempting to say, I just saw you working on the Archaeopteryx. Congratulations. That was a huge thing. See, that's why I work inside the box because that just went flying off. And if I hadn't been in the box, I probably would have lost the part. So it was a really fun trip. We spent the entire day there, not just on the dinosaur fossils, but they have a bunch of other exhibits that are pretty neat too. They have a model. It's not the skeleton, but they did a reconstruction of the Quetzalcoatlus, which is this gigantic pterodactyl. I think it stands like 12 feet high. It's just huge and kind of scary, really, almost more than some of the other dinosaurs, just because it's so massive and so unexpected. Because it's flying a flying dino. I guess pterodactyls technically aren't dinosaurs. I guess they're just pterodactyls. But that was pretty cool. And then they have they always they have a big meteorite collection, and they're really pretty boring, I have to admit. But it's interesting because they have one. There's a meteorite. Oh my, that sounds like that sounds pretty nice. March is a good month to be away because it's not winter anymore. So where I am, we have snow and everything's kind of white and actually kind of pretty if you don't have to drive in it every day. And but then it all starts to melt, but nothing's growing yet, at least where we are in the Midwest here. And so March is just this gray and brown month. It's usually kind of rainy. It's not warm yet. It's like 30s and 40s in Fahrenheit. Yeah. That's how it is here where I am too, is that nothing's growing yet, but the snow is melted, and so it's just yeah, dead leaves and dead plants and brown grass. Mm, kind of an ugly month, really. And then, at the end of March, things start to grow. You get leaves on the trees, and plants start to grow, and things green up, and then it gets pretty. And then you get some wildflowers in April. But March is a good month to be away. We had some really cold weather last month, really, really cold. But yeah, the cold went all the way down south in the U.S., just a long way down. Okay, I need to fix where I scraped the paint off here. It's, I think, sunrise yellow, sun yellow. This is, this is a pain in the butt having to redo this. And you get it done, and I go, oh, wow, that came out okay. Look at it. It looks all right. And then the paint gets scraped off, and I have to redo it. And hopefully not mess it up this time. Oh, it's a longer cruise, a week-long cruise. That sounds like fun. Where does where does it leave from? Does it leave from Miami or Fort Lauderdale? No, getting a lump in my paint. Oh, Fort Lauderdale, nice. Yeah, the port. You're going to have a chance to. Hi, I'm on. You're going to have a chance to visit any of the Mayan ruins in Mexico when you're there in person. I saw them once, ages and ages and ages ago. We done a cruise a long, long time ago, and they were really impressive. That was back in the day when they actually let you go on them. They don't let you do that anymore. Um, but I got to walk up to the top of one of the pyramids. Did you get a enforcer? Did you get some figures that you're going to paint them? I still have the original Warhammer figures, orcs and goblins, the very, very original Warhammer. Ended up painting those a long time ago. Oh, I don't think you need to worry about that. At least not on the if you take a tour that the cruise ship sponsors, they run their own tours kind of, that it should be perfectly safe. But being on the boat should be nice. I mean, it's like being in a hotel the whole time. Get to, you know, go to restaurants and eat, and they clean up after you. And if the weather's nice, you can use the pool. Hmm. Well, that might be, but it would be cool to get some figures. They are pretty small, though, as I recall. I remember painting them. They're like the D&D minifigs that we've got, pretty tiny. It's just breaking off. Oh well, it is what it is. I'm not sure how this fits. I might have to paint that where the screw was on the top. This is supposedly a thing called the master cylinder, and it goes inside the engine bay somewhere. I'm gonna have to pull out the whole thing. Hmm. Animal handling, that's always good. In our D&D show, I adopted an otter named Artemore, and that druid made it sentient, and so now Artemore is a regular member of the party and occasionally makes an appearance. Pretty fun. I'd like doing a puppet show. Oh, okay. Oh, the raven. Yeah. So if I had a familiar, it would actually be a raven. My brother would have a cougar, a mountain lion, as his familiar, but I would have a raven. We have No, we don't really have ravens where we are. We have crows, um, and we keep trying to lure them into our yard. Because sometimes you can get to be friends with crows, even though they're wild. If you leave gifts for them, they like little shiny things. Um, Sometimes they'll leave you gifts. They will give you gifts, and that would be a cool thing to do. I need to see how this fits. I'm going to look at the instructions here. Master cylinder attaches to the wall somewhere. How did that get? Good grief! Yeah, why do these things happen? I'm trying to see. I'm looking at the instructions. Oh, an amber. Yeah, an amber dragon would be. I would love that. Would be amazing. So this thing is supposed to go, it's not supposed to fall like that. I'm looking at this part here, and it goes, there's this line, it goes right there, which is right here. But I do not see where it goes. These on. Maybe there's an attachment point. I really don't know. I am at a loss as to where that piece is supposed to be and how it's supposed to attach. There's nothing for it to get on to stick onto. It's got a little pin on it. You beat people. That's okay. That's pretty fun. You have no clue how that's supposed to attach and where it's supposed to go. None of the instructions, I guess there, kind of. If anything, it looks like it goes here like this. You know how, I don't know what they're thinking. Yeah. Well, if it does, it's really bad because there's no home plating here. And there's none on the top. So this part needs to be painted. It's not going to be chromed. Okay. It's just, it can't be chrome because the chrome plating just is a fail. And there's marks all over the top of it from the molding process. So the master cylinder, for better or worse, is going to be painted aluminum because it has so many flaws, so many massive flaws that it can't be used as is. Okay. Well, hi, Enforcer. Thanks for dropping in and good luck with that new character. I appreciate it. And good luck with good luck with your class. And have fun. If we don't talk before that, have fun on your cruise. Sorry, I've got these parts here. They're very poorly made and then chrome plated, very poorly chrome plated. The plating, not just where the sprue was, but the plating in several places didn't plate. And so this part is going to have to be painted. And I hope I can get the paint to adhere to it. Maybe I could try to prime it. At least I figured out where it went. Attaches to the back of the firewall there. Okay, so that part's going to require a fair amount of attention. There's always something, like that should have taken. Yeah, it's going to take a day now because it has to be painted, primed, and painted. Maybe I can cheat a little bit with it. What I mean by that is maybe I can just give it a real quick priming. It's back, the back. Ugh. Okay, I really shouldn't do this, but I'm going to anyway. I'm gonna. It's just a real quick prime. I'm gonna do it down here in the condensator area. It dries really fast. I should actually be able to paint it yet during this stream. Take this off of here. Box. Tail lights. And all of the pieces. Oh, what else have I got here? This box. This is the box of parts. There's still some chromed parts on here. I can take off and prep and get ready to attach. But there's one part in this other box. I'm reading through boxes here. Getting back to the how much do I assemble on this before see that can be attached. This is before I paint the body because the hood has to go over this. But the hood has to close over this, so I could put that on. These are supposed to be the tops of the shock absorbers. I can attach that. I can attach the master cylinder down there. The window washer fluid gets attached here somehow on this little tab. How does the radiator fit? Yeah, that can go on. The air filter goes on the inside of the engine. The radiator hose cannot be attached until later because it goes between the radiator and the engine block, which is on another piece altogether. But the radiator can go in. Something like that. Doesn't even need to be cemented. It's just stuck there. And I mean, if it wants to stick there, it can stick there. I don't mind. Every time I don't have to cement something on, that's a good thing. It's actually stuck pretty solidly. So this can be put on too, but it can't be put on until the master cylinder is attached, because the master cylinder goes here, down in here. But then this bit, this is the window washer fluid, that goes on. It's like a little tab there that attaches to the tab like that. And that can go on too. Except there's that. Okay. So the everything but the radiator hose, which goes on here later. Anything but the radiator hose can be put in the engine compartment bay before I put the hood on. As I'm talking to myself, as I talk to myself as my going through how this is going to go. There's a decal that's supposed to go on this, on the outside of this. It would make it look stupid, but maybe I'll try it anyway. It's like a logo. Hmm. Yeah, I might do that. I'm going to leave this part in here. Parts. Um, this goes on the engine bay. That can go later. This side view mirror. These are headlights. It's the bumper. I'm going to take off the bumper here. Get that done. I can do this without messing up the chrome on the bumper like I did the other bumper. I'm cutting it from the inside, the part of the bumper that's supposed to not show. And then I think what I'm going to do, the rear view mirror that goes on the windshield. This is a side view mirror that's very badly made, really badly made. These go behind the headlights. Oh, gas cap. Here's the gas cap. Yeah, those all get Those all get put on later. So what I can do yet today is I can paint the master cylinder, and maybe attach the louvers. I'm just gonna, try to do little bits as much as I can at this point. And that's a tie bar that goes across. It goes right across here. I should take that off as well. That's another piece that can be attached before I paint the body and have the hood on it. There, that needs some trimming. And I think what I should do, gas cap goes on the outside. The windshield, the rear view mirror doesn't go on until much later. That's on the outside. Those are on the outside. But the air cleaner cover should be attached to, this is in the way. If I can break this off. No, I just cut it off. The air cleaner cover needs to be attached to the top of the engine, and I can do that right away as well. That's in the other box. So it's yeah, I'll get these parts. I'm gonna leave the other parts alone for now. I'm gonna lose the gas cap for sure. See, all the remaining parts are all here on this nice little piece of sprue that I could cut off from the rest. I'm going to do that because then I won't have this giant piece of plastic floating around anymore. But these will still be attached, so I won't. They're not tiny. They're tiny enough to get lost. I don't want them to be lost. I can put them in here like this. Yeah, just set them in here, and then they'll be not lost. Hopefully, going to be not lost there. I'm going to put this back in the box so that I know where it is. Yeah, I'm doing a good job of just muttering nonsensically here today. Yeah, that's kind of like every day on this stream, isn't it? Here's here's the decal for the window washer bag. I'm gonna try to put that on. It's just kind of weird. This goes on the battery. Hmm, I'm not sure if I want to do that today or not, but as soon. It took me a while to figure out where those parts even went. I mean, those decals, because it's not really obvious where they go or why. Massive attachment point to the screw on the bumper, cleaned off, put it in the box. So parts that are almost ready to be assembled. I could, depending on how the rest of the day goes, I could attach these louvers. That might be a thing to do as well. I've got what, a whole hour yet of scheduled time. Cartoon heroes, you know, Tom Terrific. I talked about Tom Terrific quite a bit in the last week or so. Greatest hero ever. Um, Take that, other heroes. So much for, Superman and Batman and Iron Man. They're all man. Something man, something man, something man. Aquaman. Kind of weird, not very creative names. But other superheroes, who were they? There was Underdog. Underdog was a pretty good superhero. Had a cape. Oh, Tom Terrific didn't have a cape. I mean, Tom Terrific could have had a cape because Tom Terrific was a shapeshifter and he could be what he wanted to be, a bumblebee or a tree, a plane up high, a diesel train coming running by. Tom Terrific could do all of those things. So I suppose if he wanted a cape, he could have just shapeshifted a cape for himself, but ordinarily didn't have one. Hmm, it's interesting. Underdog had a cape, and I think Super Chicken had a cape. I talked about those once. When you think about it, why? Why would you have a cape? It really, it doesn't really make a lot of sense. Maybe they look cool when you're running around and they're all flowing and things like that. But I would think that they'd be very much in the way. But I always thought, get them tangled up on something, right? You're almost certain to get them tangled. You go running by somebody and just grab you by the cape. They wouldn't even have to grab you; they just grab your cape, and then you'd be caught. But Underdog had one. Super Chicken had one. Tom Terrific did not have one. George of the Jungle did not have one. Hmm. The people who were the supercar, they didn't have one. Of course, the car was super, not them. They weren't super, just the car was super. But the car didn't have a cape. I remember that pretty distinctly. Supercar did not have a cape. Peabody didn't have a cape. Peabody and his, or neither did his boy Sherman. Hmm. Yeah, I'm not sure what the criteria were for cape versus not cape. But in any case, I think the cape probably would have been more of an hindrance than a help in the superhero business doing. I think it would be just be in the way. I really do think that the cape would be largely in the way. Okay, there's that. See how much of this comes off the air cleaner. See, if it were just a plain plastic part that was going to be painted, this isn't that much of a problem. But when it's chrome plated, it you know you can't have chrome plating under where the sprue was attached because you can't. It's just not physically possible, and it's not really possible to paint it chrome either. There's no paint that I know of that can match the chrome plating on these parts. I mean, there might be. That's why I put the qualifier in that I know of. So I trying and with modest success. I failed on the bumper, but I scratched it. But I think it's on the bottom and it's not going to be seen. No matter how careful I am, I always seem to just scratch places where I didn't, or where I thought I was avoiding it. I thought that I was giving it plenty of room. I do that with paint sometimes too. I bring the brush up and I think this brush full of paint isn't anywhere near a surface where it shouldn't be. And then I look and then there's a splotch full of paint that got there, regardless of the care that I took. Sometimes when I'm just walking through the house, I'll just bump into something. I don't know why I bumped into that. I wasn't anywhere near it. I must have been, unless I'm displaced in time and space in a kind of weird way. I don't know. Did they really? Yeah, they put the screw up at the top. Yeah, well, there's not much that can be done about that. I'm going to um, I'm going to attach the air cleaner. Why not? Why not attach the air cleaner? It goes on like that. Uh, Why wait? It flops around. That's not good. Why does it flop around so much? No. Here, I'm going to do something. I'm going to do an assembly, a little assembly thing by attaching the air cleaner. Get all these little in the way tools going on here. In the way in the sense that I could bump into them or knock them over or have them bump into something. Hopefully this will adhere to the chrome. That's another thing about chrome plating. Okay. Many things wrong about it. One is you can't fix it. So if you scrape it off the sprue, scrape the sprue, there's always going to be spots that are not plated. Um, if there are mold seams showing, and there always are, can't fix that without scraping off the chrome plating. Can't be done. Paint doesn't adhere to it very well at all. So if something needs to be painted, like the dashboard in the car, it it becomes it can flake off and have to be redone over and over. The I mean, other than parts that were actually chromed, like the bumpers, it doesn't really make sense. And parts that should be chromed, like the window frames, aren't chromed. I'm kind of tempted to just put this little spot, this flawed spot up in the front. I guess I'll put them on the side. It's actually kind of difficult to work with chrome plated parts because they they're so shiny. It's hard to see. Trying to make sure it's level, more or less level. There. So that's on. I'm gonna put this in the box so I don't mess with it anymore. I already have. Trash. There. Now it's in the way. Okay. This is the master cylinder that needs to be painted. It was chrome, but the chrome plating flaked off on parts of it, and the mold seams were very, very bad. So I'm going to paint it. Paint it with this paint. So it looks slightly different from some of the other stuff that's been painted metallic. I'm going to attempt to put that decal on the window washer bag. I think it's a bad idea. I think it's going to look bad. But the thing is, it's just a decal. And if it doesn't work, I can just wash it off and repaint the part because it's just hand painted with black paint. So it's not a real big deal. It's one of those things that's probably worth trying just to try it, just to see if it'll work. And if it doesn't, because odds are that it won't, there's no real loss. I mean, it's one of those things that can be corrected. Let me put it that way. It's a fixable thing. It's not shiny like chrome, but it actually, I think it's going to look better than it would if it was chromed. Okay. I'm going to get my cutting out detail scissors here. So this decal here goes on the window washer fluid bag, and then this one is actually supposed to go on the battery. Yeah, I'm not sure about that, but we'll see. These decals are very old. So there is a non-zero chance, which means that there's a possibility that the decal could just fail. I've had decals essentially disintegrate, just break up into tiny pieces um, in the past when they were, you came from old kits. Okay. Now, what I've done with decals in the past, and this has worked, is, instead of letting them sit in the tub of water, is I put them on a wet paper towel, and then they don't disappear in the wash water. Let that soak there. I'm gonna need this and the tweezers, and of course the part onto which it goes, which is kind of a, oh man, that was not good. I almost lost that. Almost lost it twice. Okay, so this is kind of a weird thing to put a decal on because it's not a flat surface. It's all wiggly, and so it's not just gonna lay on the surface. So it's another reason to expect it to be a failure. These decals, I always find every time I use one, I find that it takes longer for the decal to separate from the paper backing than I would think. It just sits there for a long, long time before it separates, and then it just lets loose and it goes sliding. So what I'm going to try to do, I've had some success with this in the past, is to slide it, if it once it comes loose from the paper backing, is to slide it over, grab the paper, not the decal, but the paper part with the tweezers, put it in place, and then slide it off. Sometimes it helps to have a little water on the surface to which it is sliding. Not all the water, just damp. Okay. And here, now it's sliding off. I slide it off part way, and then grab the paper part, and then put it, and then fail with my left-handed failure. Get it lined up where I want it, and slide it off like that. And as I mentioned, this is um, this is not a flat surface, and so the decal is sort of floating on it. It needs to be pushed down into the curvature. Well, this isn't altogether bad. It looks like a label, like a decal label, but that's okay because that's what it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be a label, and so it is. It's just it's an applied label on the bag. I should have. I thought this was part of the label down here, but it's not. There is no, there is. There's writing on it. Okay, so I'm going to leave it on. It doesn't look very good, but it's it's part of the label. And it looks like it's following the contour of the bag. Well, Oh, it's got a label on it. I was thinking of cutting that part off, but I was right. There is writing on it. Why, I don't know, but there is. Right in there. I don't know. It's a this little battery label. Should I try that? I don't know. Not on there. It looks like it's supposed to go on. I'm gonna cut it off and then see how it fits. It looks like it's too big for the battery. I'm not sure if it's two parts or whether it's supposed to wrap around the side or what. But I'm gonna trim it off here, cutting it the way it's supposed to be done is trim it as close to the lettering as possible, or however close that might be possible. What I'm gonna do is see if it actually fits on the battery. Yeah, it does. Okay. Well, give it a go. I don't know. Let's soak. Let's see what happens. Again, if it doesn't work, well, then it just doesn't work. I'll take it off. This somewhere safe. I'm not going to use all of these stripes, but I'm going to use the GT350 stripes, the bottom stripes, and the license plates, but I'm not using these because these would be the blue stripe on the white, which I'm not doing. This is not, believe it or not, not the smallest, not the tiniest decal I've worked with. There were some, like on the Lotus board, that were even tinier. but it's coming off the paper. Yeah, I need to do it. It's on my finger. No, it's on the battery. Not in the right place, but close. There we go. Yeah, these things don't slide until they do, and then they float. That doesn't look too bad. It looks like a label, which is what it's supposed to be. It's a label. Um, and I've got trash here that I can put over. I wonder. I wonder what the odds are of being able to get this attached. Mm, I've got a little problem with the paint there. When I turn it like this is how it's going to be attached. There's the spots that where the chrome is showing through, and touching this up once it's attached is going to be actually quite difficult. I wonder, let's lift this. It's not coming off. I just have to leave it. If I start messing with it, I'm going to end up losing it. So I'll just leave it up there. So back to this. Washer fluid bag. It is now labeled. I'm going to grab it by the top here. That can be repainted. This goes. Yeah. I'm going to attempt to attach it. I'm getting either brave or foolish here at the end, trying to put these little bits on. But, you know, I mean, at least I'll show that something happened today. I put the air cleaner on the car. Well, I could attach this part. Why not? I can do that. No, I can't. I have to put the master cylinder on first. Otherwise, I can't get to where the master cylinder goes. I almost made a big oops there. I almost had an oops. Don't need oopses. I do have a flaw there that needs to be touched up. I'm going to do that while I'm waiting for this to set a little bit. This is just really annoying is that there's a scratch in the paint inside of the engine compartment. And I want to make that go away. Black on black. Hopefully it will disappear. Oh, I messed up the bristles. Yeah, things are starting to go as they go in the last half hour, 45 minutes of the stream, where things just start to like, go badly. What I managed to do the last time I put this away is I managed to mess up the bristles, putting it into the protective sleeve, which is supposed to keep this from happening. But it's not altogether bad. As the brush loses bristles, the point becomes a finer and finer point, which makes it even better for fine detail work. Until at some point the bristles disappear completely, which has happened to me on several brushes. Okay, now getting this to where it needs to go is not easy. I'm gonna do this. That was a failure. It's supposed to just stick to that little ledge. I guess like that. Well, it's sticking anyway. Okay, well, that's in place. And it's not really crooked. I got the labels on the battery and the bag. Come on, Just be dust, please. Okay, well, that's on. The battery's on. Um, the master cylinder goes back here, but I have to wait for the paint to dry. What is going on with the paint here? I am really annoyed by this. I'm going to try not to get impatient and mess this up. I'm just going to paint the whole surface there. This is a slight difference in gloss. And if the whole part is consistent, then it's not a problem. I would like to get that master cylinder thing attached. Maybe that isn't going to happen today, though. Maybe I can put the louvers on. The paint on that is dried. The most challenging thing for me to with these is getting them on the right side because they don't fit. They're not ambidextrous. That's how it fits. Let's see how it looks from the inside. Not going to be too bad. Ideally, I would paint this so that, well, I don't know if I can. I have a picture of it. I might, but on the inside, there's supposed to be louvers, not louvers, but like screens. No, I just can't. I can't do it. I can't paint it that well. Um, I think I can get these attached before the end of the day. little bits of this right on the edge. The top and the bottom edge, because this is where it's going to stick. Let's do one side. I could put it on the other side too, but I'm just going to do one at a time. Yeah, the part doesn't really fit that well. I mean, it's supposed to look like a distinct part, and it certainly does. But that's as good as it's going to get in terms of fitting. But it's sticking. Now do the same thing on the other side. It takes an amazingly small amount of this to actually hold. And I'm having a difficult time getting an amazingly small amount of this at all. Now, let's see if this one will go in. It's attached, kind of. There. This one doesn't fit that well. There it's snapped in. Sometimes that's what it takes. Is persuade. Oh, come on. It was. It was okay. And this all gets painted the same body color, which is why I'm installing them now, so it can be painted along with the body. Well, there. I wonder if I should be brave enough to install. What is with this? No, that's the back. Okay, well, it's on there. So what I've done is I have painted and installed the louvers. You can see they're just sort of on there. And that's not working. I have not succeeded in that. I have a failure of adhesive. Where did my little piece? There it is. I was so close to being done. Okay. No, it seems to be sticking. Doesn't seem like much, but I painted the insides and installed the louvers. I got the label on the battery, got the label on the window washer fluid, and installed a washer fluid bag. I put on the, and now it's crooked and it wasn't before. I attached the master cylinder after cleaning it up and repainting it. And I can now actually attach this bar. Now that the master cylinder is attached, I can put this on. And I'm just going to do that. And then I'll have the engine bay completed. And I'll be able to deal with the hood then at some point in the future. On Wednesday, I'm not sure quite what I'm going to be doing on Wednesday in terms of getting more work done on this. It's getting really close. It's getting really close to the point where where the body needs to be painted. And when it gets to that point, then I need to be seriously thinking about painting the body. And that means I need to get myself some blue paint. Yeah. No, that's okay. I mean, there's parts attached now, and that looks okay. The labels, they look like decal labels, and they're supposed to be decal labels, and so that's okay. I mean, the real things are just decal labels. So that's okay that that's what they look like because that's what they should look like. So there. So buttons. The radiator is not cemented in. It's just held by friction because it wanted to stick, and so it's sticking. Okay, I'm going to clean this up a little bit and bring this box back in this direction. Yeah, so what I did today doesn't look like much, but I got some parts off of the sprue. I messed up the chrome plating on one of the bumpers a little bit. This bar ends up going across here like that. I can put that on later. I got these painted on the back so that they will match the back of the car. And I missed a spot. Yay. I don't know if that will show or not, but I take a chance. I take a chance. Then I can fix it and not spill the bottle. About the other one. The other one looks mostly okay. Yep. Um, so pretty soon I need to mask all the parts that are not supposed to be painted white, which means masking the whole inside of the car and the engine bay. Oh, I need to attach these to the car. I can do it. I'm going to try to do that on Friday. Those need to be attached before the stripes are painted so that the stripe flows straight across and continuously onto them. And then there's some chrome bits, the headlights and the gas cap and the rear view mirror and the side view mirror and stuff that go on later in the process. But I'm going to wrap up because there isn't much else to do today. I will remind everybody that Dice and Dungeons is not about this, but it's about our Dungeons and Dragons show. Uh, Check it out on YouTube or listen to it as a podcast, or if you want to, you can watch it on Twitch on Sundays at 2. Okay, there's a chat that you can join in on if you want. Um, this is just a sad little spin-off of the real thing, of the show. And I'm going to continue this until the car is completed. And when the car is completed, I'm going to finish my rat fink. And when the rat fink is completed, I think I'm going to work on a Stegosaurus that I started about 20 years ago and never finished. And I'll do that. But first, I need to get through this. And there's still a lot of challenges left on this car. So I don't want to minimize what yet needs to be done in order to make this blue with a white stripe, including a whole lot of really careful masking um, that needs to be done before I do white spray painting, which needs to be done before I do masking and blue painting, which needs to be done before I install the windshields and the little chrome trim bits. So I'm going to just quit. Well, I am not making a disaster. Always quit before the disaster happens. Okay. That's an important thing. And I will be back on Wednesday, maybe on time, maybe not. It depends on when the construction people show up, if they're still working then. Until then, though, on behalf of Dyson Dungeons and our Dungeons and Dragons show, thanks everybody, and we'll see you soon.